In this problem it says you ride your bike to campus a distance of 4 miles and return home on the same route. Going to campus you ride mostly downhill and average 6 miles an hour faster than your return trip home. If your round trip takes 1 hour and 24 minutes, in other words 7/5 hours, what is the average rate on the return trip? So let's set up a chart here. We've got distance equals rate times time as the basis formula for the chart, and we have two instances, one going to campus and one coming home from campus. So this is going to give us the rows and columns for our chart. Okay, the first thing that we can fill in are the distances. Both distances going to campus and, since it's the same route, coming home from campus must be equal to 4 miles. In the next sentence it says that if we average 6 miles an hour faster going to campus than we do on our return trip home, if the return trip home is just X miles an hour, then going to campus should be X plus 6. This makes sense because since our problem is asking us to find what is the average rate on the return trip, it's nice to have that be X. The last pieces of the puzzle to fill in are what the times are. For each of these, we're going to use distance equals rate times time. But since we want to solve for t's here, we're going to divide both sides by r. So we have t equals distance divided by rates. So the rate coming home, or the time coming home, will be distance divided by rate, or 4 divided by x. And the time going to campus will be distance 4 divided by rate, x plus 6. Great. Now to get our equation, we're going to use the fact that the round trip takes 7/5 hours. That means that the time going to campus plus the time coming home from campus must total 7/5. Plugging in these two times for the time going to and the time coming home, we get 4 over x plus 6 as our value for the time going to campus, 4 over x as the value for the time coming home, and that should be equal to 7/5. Now we have a rational equation that we can solve. Let's go to the next page to solve that rationally. Okay, so we left off at 4 over x plus 6 plus 4 over x equals 7/5. For this part right here, we want to find a common denominator. It looks like the LCD for this problem is 5x and x plus 6. So that, since we have an equation, can be multiplied, although it will be smushed. 5x and x plus 6 to all of our numerators. 5x and x plus 6, and 5x and x plus 6. And let me use a different color here. Let's use green to cancel things out. Okay, first fraction, the x plus 6's cancel. The second fraction, the x's cancel, and in the third fraction, the 5's cancel. Let's see, what does that leave us with? In the first fraction, 5 times x times 4 is going to be 20x. In the second fraction, 5 times 4 times x plus 6 will be 20 times x plus 6. And in the last fraction, the 5's canceling leaves us with 7 and x multiplied to x plus 6. All right, let's distribute. 20x plus 20x plus 120 on the left-hand side, and 7x squared plus 42x on the right-hand side. Seeing the x squared term indicates that we need to be factoring and getting 0 on one side, So let's do a couple of things. The 20x and the 20x is going to turn into a 40x. When we subtract that from both sides, I like the 7x squared as a positive x squared term. So I'd like to subtract the 40x and the 120 to the right side of the equation, leaving us with a big 0 on the left. 7x squared. Now we're subtracting 40x and we're subtracting 120. So that's going to be 7x squared plus 2x minus 120. This is not a pretty one to factor, but it looks like with a little bit of work, this factors to 7x and x and a 4 and a 30 to make 120. And they're multiplied to be negative 120, so their signs are different, but they add to be positive 2. So it must be plus 30 and minus 4. So our two equations are going to be 7x plus 30 equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. And when we solve those for x, we get x equals negative 30 over 7 and x equals 4. Now x equals a negative doesn't make any sense because x is supposed to be a speed. So we're going to cross that one out and keep the x equals 4. So our answer is going to be x is equal to 4 miles per hour.